Welcome back to the channel, guys. I've been using the Surface Pro 11 for a whole month now to not only see if it can replace my workflow, but to see if it can replace yours as well. My workflow typically includes word processing for writing scripts, some video editing, some coding and Docker containers, and some light gaming. And it's honestly left me with some mixed feelings, and let's discuss what those are. Alright guys, so to start, this is the X Elite chip with 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte SSD. On the left hand side, you'll have two USB-C 4 ports. On the top, you have a power and a volume rocker, as well as on the right, you have the proprietary Surface connector. And on the bottom, you'll see two slots where your keyboard connects. Alright, so let's get into actually integrating the device to my workflow. And this is actually where I came into my first, set of errors. Alright, so I have two 4K monitors that sit in my Thunderbolt 3 dock, and I was like, alright, well, let's just reuse what we already have, right? So I plugged it in, and that's where the issue occurs. So one, it didn't pick up my left monitor, and two, it didn't even extend the device to the full screen, right? It kind of did what the iPad Pro used to do in terms of it just cropped itself for some reason. So that was the first issue, but I did find some sort of viable option, and that is one, keeping one monitor plugged into the dock and plugging it in that way, and then putting the other Thunderbolt cable into my USB-C port. But the only issue with that is that if I wanted the full, it wasn't even giving me the full. So I have a 144 hertz 4K monitor, or two of them, and it would cap it at 120, but it would go to 720p. And then if I wanted the full 4K, it capped it at 60. So that's another issue you might come across if you're trying to use another dock, right? But I have seen that there are other solutions, such as the Surface dock. I'm not sure if it's capped at a certain FPS or not, but I'll link Everyday Dad's video. He did a review on this device as well, and it seems like he was able to actually just plug in one cable and they both work. So I'll go ahead and link that video in the description so you can give that video a look. Alright, so let's talk about when I'm on the go. So as someone that actually spends more time in the living room where it's actually more light is there, or at my local Starbucks, I can say that this device is amazing for that. One is because I can just close it, pick it up, and take it there without having to worry like how much room is it going to take up, as well as the battery life. The battery life's crazy. I guess it's kind of weird saying that for a Windows device. I guess after the first week, I didn't really have to worry about, am I going to have enough battery? As long as I had it plugged into my dock beforehand, because it was always charging, I could just unplug it, take it with me, and I could work hours without even thinking about the battery. I don't even think I even got a warning when I was out, whether I was at my local Starbucks or even in the living room. So that's a plus. And then the speakers are great as well, so I can watch YouTube videos without having to use headphones, which is actually a nice relief because I only have headphones at my main desktop. So it's actually a nice change of pace, or I guess change of scenery in that matter. All right, let's get into some of the things you actually might be more interested in, and that is gaming. Like I said at the beginning, I do some light gaming, and the first thing, I guess one of the more popular games that I play is Call of Duty, and as you'll see, unfortunately, I guess anything with an anti-cheat isn't supported, but it also isn't supported on ARM yet, which is a bummer because I probably have the most hours in that game. But another game that I do play is Diablo 4. And as you'll see, I actually got this running. So I wanted to test it first on my 4K monitor, as that's what I tend to play most of my games on. And as you'll see, it did not fare too well. A lot of stuttering, game crashed, continuous loading. And so I was like, well, this has got an amazing OLED screen, right? So let's play it on that. And actually it worked out pretty great. So you'll see in my settings, I put it about 80% in terms of resolution, and everything else was low. So in that regard, I was actually able to keep it above 30 FPS, and there was no stuttering. The game looks amazing. Even though it's on low resolution, the OLED really does bring that extra little bit of color into the device, or into the picture. And if you actually want more gaming information in regards to what games actually run and what won't, I believe LTT, or Linus Tech Tips, did a stream not too long ago about it was like 2 hours or longer of games that actually run. And I'll try to link that in the video description as well, so that way you can check that out and see if it's something that you're interested in actually doing. You have more information on it. All right, so the last thing I did mention was video editing. And as you'll see in my last video, it did not fare so well. So even on my MacBook Air and MacBook Pro, it took about, what, 15 minutes? And then on the Surfaces, no matter if you had the 32 gigabyte model or the 16 gigabyte model, they both took right around 30 minutes, and that's just something with as little time as I have, someone that needs that video rendered so that way I can go ahead and start editing it and get the video out. It's just not something that I want to deal with right now. It's not because these chips aren't, I guess, viable or as strong, right? They're just not optimized yet. They actually outperformed both of the MacBooks in terms of single core and multi-core. And with that being said, even the MacBook Air beat it, even though it was killing it in the benchmark. So that's just something that we need to wait for. And as someone, if you're going to invest in these, I guess, laptops early, this is something you're going to be able to look forward to and actually utilize down the road. All right, so let's get into my overall thoughts of the device. And to start, this is an amazing Windows device. I have to admit it, right? This is something that I get, and I am someone that has hated Windows laptops in terms of battery life and the noises that they make, right? But this device fixes those issues for me. So if you're someone that's using a Windows device and it's already just spinning up the fans and the battery life isn't that great, this is a device for you, especially if you're looking or you're in the market for one. The only thing that I would do is I would get the, I guess, 16 gigabyte model, but also go with a different laptop with the chip. With the same chip, I get the Surface Laptop 7 because you're getting the touchscreen with it, as well as I like the design better. And it comes with a keyboard. I hated that I had to go out and pay an extra $150 on top of the device cost. You know, that's just not something that I wanted to do. And I'd get the 16 gigabyte model. I don't think I'd get the X Elite variant because I don't see myself gaming as much anymore. But if you're someone that's going to actually utilize that chip, that might be something for you. And like I said, it does fix the battery. I never had to worry about if it was going to die, like I've mentioned before. And the OLED screen's actually really nice, especially if you're going to utilize it for gaming. It really does make that picture pop a little bit better than the LED screen. But the only thing I didn't do with this device in my workflow is the video editing. As like I said, it's just not optimized yet. But if you're picking up the device, like I said, this is something to look forward to and something that you're actually going to be able to utilize the chip a little bit more, especially in the future, right? But yeah, that's my view on it. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you liked it, make sure, or if you liked the video, or if you enjoyed, hit that like button. Sub if you want more, and comment in the video if you want something. I've been replying to literally everybody, or at least if it wasn't a question, I'm acknowledging it. And yeah, hope I'll see you in the next one.